Hello everyone and welcome to Inter IR Talks. I am Rafa Vitória, Inter's Chief Economist and Investor Relations Officer, and this videocast is produced by the IR team to bring valuable insights into our business. Today I'm with Rodrigo Gouveia, CEO of Intershop, to talk about this remarkable story of our marketplace and how it has grown and future prospects for Intershop. Thank you, Rodrigo, for joining us.
Thank you. Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here.
Let's start with your background. Tell us a little bit about your background and what made you decide to join Inter.
Great question, Rafa. Just really quick about my background. I'm about to be 47 years old, been in this journey for a little bit. I graduated with business administration, my bachelor, with emphasis in marketing in 2000 in the United States, which is, I always put this perspective because it was a great experience back then, not in terms of the culture and language, but also because I was part from the beginning of the first crash of the .com in the 2000. So I saw the boom and the crash, which is something that really motivated me with the work that I did there, of how things are evolving, how to be innovative and creative in terms of technology. And then I moved back to Brazil. I spent 15 years working with advertising in different clients, different segments, very much focused on business development and strategy and delivering different contents to our clients in a way of digitalizing those clients that were very, very offline, which was quite interesting. It brought a lot of insights and opportunities of learning. And then I joined Facebook, which is now Meta, as a global client partner, which was a great culture, strong team, and it was a really very, very good experience. And then I had this opportunity to meet João, who invited me to come to Inter, and which at the beginning I was like, what is this marketplace idea that you wanted to build within a financial app that is a digital app? There's no branches, right? So it was something I was very, I would say, curious at the beginning. And I'll say the reason I decided to accept, and fast forward now 6 years after, was a strong thing that I like to say is the entrepreneurship. At Inter, we say it's entrepreneurship, which is part of our strong culture. We say that we're all orange blood here at Inter, and we are. I really believe we are. And we have a very, very strong team. And at that time, when I got in, everyone was very excited, building something new, of being very innovative, disruptive, being the first, marketplace. And those things combined, when I visited, Belo Horizonte, our main office, I was like, well, this is something unreal, it could be, and it will be a great opportunity. So I think it really clicked, the idea of bringing technology, innovation, and being throughout, this various fronts and segments, and lead this marketplace and loyalty as well with Loop, and yes, so this was quite remarkable.
A very successful story. Congratulations. Now let's talk a little bit about how Intershop has evolved over the years, how the marketplace started, and where we are today.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the idea of build a marketplace from scratch is, I would say, it was innovative, really innovative, because no one has ever done it before. So there were no benchmarks, really. But we believe that we're building a strong platform, and the concept of building a super app and a financial super app today is very much based on also leveraging, non-financial services, right? And when we combine, we say there's a book called Business of Platforms that we really envision the idea of why we build a strong platform, right? And why marketplace can be successful, like in the mid-long term of the business. And we say that you need to have an audience, and we do have, right? If we think about interest, with our millions of clients, data, which is a lot of knowledge of our clients, and behavior to target and deliver the best offers, the best deals, the best products. Payments, which is something that's not only payments, but we have our own processing machine. We have our own way of creating our wallet, and this is something that keeps, because I would say, gives us a competitive advantage. Last but not least, credit, which is essential for banking, for financing, and we do have that credit. So when you combine those four items, we believe, wait, maybe we have something different here that can enable, right? And so we did a different shift. A lot of the companies at that time were talking conceptually, yet not in terms of practice, of moving from retailer, moving from one specific segment, but they would say everything ends in a fintech. In our case, that we were building a fintech, actually a digital bank, a complete digital bank, and we were moving towards the opposite direction. So, wait, maybe we should build something related to retail, an e-commerce, a marketplace, since we have the whole background in terms of technology, in terms of systems, very, very fluid, no legacy, that can, be an asset-light way of building it, because we have no logistics, because we have nothing attached to the physical world in a way, right? So I would say that this challenge of coming to Inter and building something new, and now getting to, I don't know, 3.5 million clients with more than almost two transactions per second today that we have, it is something that we can say that by now we're very successful in delivering this purpose.
Tell our investors a bit about how the marketplace is today in terms of some numbers, our main partnerships, the part that is the end-to-end. Some investors ask us about fulfillment or not. Tell us a little bit how we are structured today.
Yeah, so one of the things that when we created this idea of the platform of marketplace is to create something that we call it's asset light. So the idea of not having logistics behind or have something very, very heavy, we decided that since we have those 4 pillars that I've mentioned, we understand that we have a competitive advantage that can build upon that. And we're very agnostic. So the idea of building a marketplace, we have different players, from retailers, from industry, and we're doing a very, very strong movement of direct to consumer with industry. And interesting enough, when we started, we thought services would be the first sort of line of business. And of course, with the pandemic, the growth of e-commerce overall, our products and especially durable goods became really the enabler of providing these results. And so this is how we started, how we see the competitive advantage. And today we've reached, I would say from the last quarter, we said about 3.5 million clients. And it's a growing basis of more recurring, bringing new clients, and a GMV of, if we look at this past 6 years, we're getting close to 20 billion reais, which is an impressive number when you start from scratch, from nothing, right?
Amazing. We talked about credit as being one of our competitive advantages, and the Buy Now, Pay Later is a new line of credit. We can say new compared to the start of the marketplace. We've offered Buy Now, Pay Later since last year, but it has proven to be one important advantage to bring more clients. The clients, they're credit sensitive. Tell us a bit about how the Buy Now, Pay Later is structured today, and how do you see that as a tool to leverage or to increase sales going forward?
Yeah, so the idea of the Buy Now, Pay Later, I say that in Brazil, we were, the concept of Buy Now, Pay Later, it's intrinsic within the Brazil culture, right? The difference is we're charging interest, we're not charging interest, right? So it's not something new, but the way we're approaching it is new. Right? When we built our model for the platform, we understood that there were 2 types of clients. We call the reward sensitive. I do have my credit and I want to get the best deal and the best incentive out of it. And on the other side, we have the credit sensitive, as you've mentioned. And this credit sensitive is someone that we don't have a line of credit, and we're able to enable or empower this client to make purchases, right? So good. So we did a great job in the beginning of creating the cashback as an incentive platform, and now we start moving forward. The Buy Now, Pay Later specific of creating this credit sensitive offer, right? And the idea of creating that is not only a traditional way, but we understand there is an opportunity behind it as well. And the model that we created, we understand that when we combine the take rates or the commissions that we get from our partners, with the down payment that the client does, that enables an accounting to what we call as a collateral in a way to facilitate, to mitigate, I would say, the risk of a personal loan or a personal credit, and that give us more and more the ability to evolve with clients. So today we have around 4 or 5 million clients that they have access to this buy now pay later, and today it already represents in our business model, which is the end-to-end that we call. End-to-end means that you're able to buy from the beginning to the end within our app without leaving our app. It's about 8%. So it's a growing basis. When we share the results, it's been like 4, 5, 6. Now we're at 8 from the last first quarter, and we see that's a strong opportunity for us because it's very sustainable business. It's not that we're giving personal loans and as any other model that doesn't I would say stay connected with our purposes. And we don't give cash back. So that's one of the things. So the cash back is not given. So that's also part of the I would say of the collateral that we built with the product. So
it's a smart way to give credit to our clients and to have some of that credit being collateralized.
Exactly. And it's part of what we call the Inter by design. So why we're not giving not only credit to anyone like loans and money, because we believe that bringing these clients to our ecosystem and they understand that they can be more and more empowered to make purchases, it's a win-win situation for everyone.
And looking forward, we have a macro scenario. As an economist, I could not talk about macro. It's a very challenging scenario. We see the economy slowing down, and the slowdown starts with retail. So consumer confidence is on the lower side. We expect the economic activity to be somewhat lower in the next few quarters. But at the same time, our market share in e-commerce in Brazil is still small. So there is a huge opportunity to continue to grow. When you look forward, how do you balance the challenges and opportunities you see in the industry?
Yeah, Rafa, I would say that not only our marketplace, but Inter overall, it's very well positioned in terms of of facing the challenges, right? Whether now or before, when we didn't have it, when we had the pandemic, and after the pandemic, we had a boom of e-commerce, and we have a slowdown of e-commerce. So it's not like I would say a straight line of business that you can tell what's going to happen, you can predict what's going to happen within a year or so.
But Santi always says life is not linear.
Linear, exactly. Life is not linear at all. So we need to understand and work with that, right? So we see that I think we're very well positioned to offer the best product or the best service to our clients, right? I would say. So when we see in terms of slowdown, not only the durable goods that it's part of that we sell, we see sometimes, of course, a downgrade in terms of what's being purchased within the segment. But we're also evolving our line of products to services, to offering, for example, gift cards that we have that are top-ups for supermarkets, for example, for gas, drugstores. So we understand the behavior, we understand where there's an opportunity, and the idea of building more and more and providing access to these clients and incentives in a way which are discounting, we are the best or one of the best offers that a client could go to when they're actually looking for savings and safety, of course, because we're a financial app, and also for great deals, as I mentioned, incentives is part. So we see that it's a fluctuation. And on the other side, we're not only aiming growth, and I guess this is something that overall we already shifted and we've seen the results quarter after quarter. We're on the same pace. We're also looking for profitability, right? So we're also looking for the best clients, enabling more sales and more purchases, and we're growing that every month, but not at any cost. We're being very specific at the same time to be profitable and be able to deliver the best, not only to our clients, but also to our investors and our stakeholders.
So balancing GMV and revenue growth is key to the business.
Exactly. And this is something that, João, Victor, and I, we sit down every week here to understand exactly that sweet spot, in terms of how can we grow and figure out the best way to deliver the results, right? So, and this is something that we're managing. It's not, again, a button that you push, but it's something that we have very much control of how to work upon the challenges.
And growth with profitability is key to the 60-30-30 plan that we have, right?
Exactly. So the more clients, and again, this is something that we're piling up, the number of clients, we're growing every time as we speak with the new clients and recurring clients that we're keeping in our marketplace. But at the same time, of course, when we look at in terms of the ROE and also in terms of the efficiency, we need to be very, very tangible and work towards that goal. So this is top priority for us here.
And talking about the recurrence, Loop is our newest avenue of growth. Not so new now, but with amazing 12 million clients so far. What's the importance of the Loop program for Intershop, and how do you see Loop growing going forward?
Yeah, so interesting because not only commerce, which is one of our divisions, our avenues, but Loop came up with the idea of not only for Intershop, of course there's a connection, but more, if you look in terms of the reward sensitive client, we believe that there is a constant way of cash back and short mid-term incentives. But at the same time, we hear our clients, we listen a lot to our clients, and we understand that there was an opportunity for us to create something that's more long-term incentive, right? And points, in our case, are loops that we call here. It is something that it was missing, I would say, in the strategy to fulfill some of our clients. So with that said, we created this new, now there's a new avenue. We have over 12 million clients, as you've mentioned. And really the idea here is to be not only any loyalty program, and for us, is, as we mentioned, Inter by design, it has its own means and its own way of delivering, to be very democratic. And being democratic, I mean that the points that you earn, we have to facilitate and enable you to earn more points and loops, but at the same time be able to burn those points or to redeem those points. Because a lot of the programs, it's only one way. The other way, it costs a lot, it's expensive. So we have such an interesting ecosystem within Inter itself. There's so many things that can be redeemed, So today you can actually redeem for dollars in your global account, for example. Airlines and more things that we're delivering soon, but it is very, very, very interesting. The power of keeping the clients engaged overall within Intershop, of course, but more than that, throughout Inter overall. And within our app, you actually have 3 buttons on top, right? You have Reais, which is our Brazilian flag, which is your coin in Brazil. Dollar, which is our global currency, right, outside of Brazil. And Loop, which is our Inter Brazil / US coin, right? So we believe that it is not only a loyalty program, but it's an enabler as well of facilitating the engagement and creating long-term value with our clients as well.
Many opportunities to grow going forward.
A lot. Loop is a great avenue. I say, our marketplace is it's going to complete 6 years, and Loop has only 2 years. So a lot of things coming up.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo. Thanks everyone for listening. It was a great conversation, and I'll see you next time.
Pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoy.